What's up, guys, and welcome to today's episode. I am Jerome from the Bonsai Supply, and today we're going to take a closer look at our watering system. So these are some of the tools that you need to set up your sprinkler system. Here we have a 1/4-inch pipe. Now the 1/4-inch pipe, you also need to have one of these sprayers. Now this is a 360 sprayer, and this is super easy. You just twist it in like this. And then this now has to go into a 1/4-inch connector, or at Home Depot they call it a coupler, I'm not sure. So this goes into here. Here we go. So obviously you make this on a much larger scale, but just to give you an idea, so this end goes into the 1/2-inch pipe that's on the ground or in the ground, and then this goes up, and then here we have the wire, and then this sprays a large area, and then this would be an 1/8 of an inch sprayer. So this is what you will connect to a spot spitter. Now the spot spitters come in many different sizes. They come also a lot smaller. Now the smaller ones, they don't spray at an angle, they just spray straight, so they spray like that. When they spray like this, they also have a pretty wide fan like that, so that's why I prefer the spot spitter, because you can plug them, you can push them into the soil pretty deep so that they don't fall out, as well as they spray at a slight angle, and the fan is not as large as these. So this will go into your pot, and then we'll spray the water at an angle. Now the end of this 1/8 of an inch sprayer needs to go into an 1/8 of an inch, I call it connector, but they seem to call it a coupler. So here we go. And then this would also go into the 1/2-inch pipe. So both of these can go into the 1/2-inch pipe. It's just the end and the thickness of the pipe that depends on what you're going to use it for. Sometimes you have a hard time to put these connectors into the tube, so I always keep a cup of hot water with me, so that I can just lay the rubber tube into the hot water, let it warm up and expand a little bit, and then I can just push this in with ease. Another thing that you need is a hole puncher. So this is actually to punch a hole into the 1/2-inch tube that's in the ground. You also need a connector, so if you want to connect multiple lines together. You might need one of these if you want to go around the corner, for instance. You might need to have one of those so that you don't get a kink in the line. So you will cut it, attach it here, and then go around the corner. And another thing that you need is this tool right here. This, once your line is finished, you can feed it through here and then bend it. So you feed it through like this, bend it like that, and then this keeps the water from going out of the pipe. So it hits it to here, and then it goes back. So all of these things that you see right here I got from Home Depot, except for these things. So these sprayers I got from Dripworks or Drip Depot, but all of the other things I got from Home Depot. Now here at the Bonsai Supply we have 4 sprinkler zones. So zone number 1 would be this one right here. I'm standing in zone number 1. The reason why you want to divide the sprinkler system up into different zones is so that you have enough pressure to water all of your trees evenly. If you have too many sprinkler heads on one zone, then the water stream might come out very weak, so you might not water your trees as evenly. When you have a lot of water pressure, you can set the timer for a lot less time, and you get a lot more watering done in a lot less time. So this will be watering zone number 2. It is very difficult at the beginning if you're not familiar with these systems and you don't know your water pressure just yet. It can be very difficult to know how many trees you can actually have on one zone. So what we did is we just lined all the trees up, and then we had the main line on the floor, and we just stuck tubes and tubes until the water pressure started to drop a little bit. And that's when we knew, oh, okay, maybe we can add one more tree, and saw how the pressure was, and then we were like, oh, now the pressure is not as good, so we removed it again. And so that's how we kind of figured out how many trees will fit into a zone. It also depends on the size of the trees. Now here I have some bigger specimens, so this will be a zone that doesn't have as many trees as zone number 4. Zone number 4 has a couple hundred, maybe even 1,000 trees that are only being watered from the zone number 4, and that's because we have just fewer sprays, and they spray at a wider pattern. But for these trees here, I wouldn't need a wide pattern, because if I had a wide pattern here, I would have a lot of wasted water that sprays all over the place that I don't really need. So let's move on to zone 3. So this is what we call zone 3. Zone 3 goes all the way down and around and comes back on the other side. So this zone has the most amount of trees. This zone is a mixture out of the spot spitters and the little sprinkler heads. So we use both here. Now if you have a bench like this that sprays a lot of water and waters a lot of trees, you want to have a 1/4 inch pipe that comes out of the 1/2 inch pipe. So you have the 1/2 inch pipe that goes in the back, and then into the 1/2 inch pipe we plug the 1/4 inch pipe. Now the 1/4 inch pipe is then being wired with aluminum wire to stay in place. Now these are really good because when you have a bird that lands on it, or you have a cat or anything that bumps into it, it goes right back. So you want to make sure to use a pretty thick aluminum wire so that it bounces right back. So these are the water timers that I have. They are both Rainbird products. I like Rainbird the most. This one has 3. This one has 4 zones, and this one only has 1. I have one zone that's empty right now that still needs to be installed. So what happens here is that this is a regular garden hose, which is attached to the faucet outside your house. And then you run that to your divider here. So I have 2 water timers, and then I also have my garden hose hooked up on the side here. Now this can just be turned on and turned off here, but then these 2 I just leave them on all the time. Now out of these water timers, we have a transition piece where the 1/2 inch line goes into, and then this attaches to the timer. It's the same as this, but this I got at Home Depot. This I got at Home Depot as well as this. And this is in the sprinkler section. Now this is a 1/2 inch pipe that comes out of the timer. And now this one runs along the nursery floor. So this on the ground here is a 1/2 inch pipe that runs on the floor. If you have a backyard, you can bury this line in the grass on the ground. Since I don't have any ground, I have mostly concrete, I just lay them into the shaded area. And then from this 1/2 inch line, we have this is an 1/8 of an inch that plugs into the 1/2 inch line and then goes into the tree here. So this is an 1/8 of an inch that then attaches to the spot spitter. So keep in mind, if you want to do a lot of spot spitters, you need a 1/2 inch pipe on the floor, and 1/8 of an inch pipe coming into the pot of your tree. This is a classic example where I was able to use only one, and it's pouring the water onto the root system right here, and then it's running down evenly. So here I was able to use just one. So this is a perfect example where you see that the water stream comes down at an angle from these spot spitters. Usually they come out completely straight. I prefer the ones that come at an angle so that they can actually hit the side of the trunk and then slowly trickle down into the pot. On larger trees or pots like this, I use 2 spitters. On smaller trees, I only use 1. And if they're very, very big, I can even use multiples. Now on a tree such as this, where the root system is growing on top of the statue, it is very difficult to water the top of the roots while they're not touching the ground yet. So I have this spot splitter right here, which is watering the bottom here, but then I also have a lot of roots up here in the back that have not yet touched the soil. So what I did is I took this spot splitter and just slid it in between the roots, and that made it hold and stay in place, and therefore I was able to keep one up there. See, right in here you can see the spot splitter. So I just took this and just slid it in between the roots, and now this is watering the top of the roots that have not yet made it all the way into the soil yet. And that's just to keep it moist up there and make sure that they don't dry out just yet before they touch the soil. So this is the other type of splitter. It's a spray. I wired the tube to the bench and then up the plastic tube with the aluminum bonsai wire, and that allowed me to shape the tube into which direction I want the water to go. Now these spray out like fans like that. To use one of these for your trees, if just for one tree, it can be very wasteful because it sprays in a very large spray. So I prefer for individual trees the spot splitters, but for a larger area like this I would use a few of those fans. And you can buy different spray nozzles. I think this one is called a 180. You can buy 360, you can buy 90-degree sprays, and I believe even 45 degrees, but these are 180 degrees and I like those the best, depending on what your situation is, but this just really works well for me. So this concludes the video for today. I really hope I was able to help you guys out and give you some ideas of how to install your watering system. We've been using this sprinkler system for many years. It's very affordable, it's very easy to install. One afternoon we installed the entire nursery here, so it was very, very simple. Once you get the hang of it, it's just plug and go, and so I really like it. I do watch it though, so that sometimes, you know, the little sprayers get a little clogged, so you have to rinse them off with water again, but that rarely happens now. So I see you guys next week. Be sure to tune in.